Hello everyone, so I'm back with the PPD again, also known as the pattern programming device from Brother, and I wanted to show you how you can copy and paste, or in other words transfer patterns around on your chart, either from built-in patterns or patterns you've already got stored on the cartridge, or maybe from an external memory such as a floppy drive. And it's very easy to do. There's quite a few different things I can show you in this video, things you might not realise that the PPD can actually do, and it really does speed up your pattern creating. So this is a design by Wendy Phillips called Traffic Jam, and you can see it's a whole load of vehicles such as buses and cars, delivery vans, tractors, you name it. There's quite a few different designs, and I'm not sure if it's copyrighted, so I don't want to show the entire pattern. But anyway, hopefully you can see up here that we have a bus there, and it's driving towards the left. And down here, I've already drawn the data at the bottom of the chart. You can see half of the bus is there and the other half's there. The bus pattern is identical to the one up here. So what we can do is we can copy and paste into our chart this half of the bus and copy and paste this half and splice them together to create the single pattern up here, which is the same design. And we can also use our variation keys to reverse this, so instead of it driving to the right, which you can see it's doing here, there's the front end of the bus, there's the back end, that's driving to the right, we can flip it so it's driving to the left and then position it exactly in the chart where we want it here to save us drawing the design out again. Now before we begin, we need to make some notes of the coordinates of this pattern, so when we come to reposition it in the chart, that we can put it in exactly the right place. So you can see the chart is numbered here. This is basically just a Mylar sheet copy. So this design was intended to have a Mylar sheet for a Brother Mylar reader, you know, the 910, 950, 950i. You were supposed to put the sheet over the top and trace it. But I'm using the PPD, so anyway, the numbers are here for the chart. So we can see that the very left edge, which is here, is on 33. There, the widest point of the pattern. So left 33. What's the right? The right is the widest point, which is this flat back edge of it here, which is on stitch 55. This is a bit messy writing here because I've only got one hand at the moment. The bottom line of the pattern there is on row 89. And the top row is on 110, 11, 112. No, it's not. That's 110, 11, 12, 13. There we go. They're a bit awkward to work out, these Mylars, sometimes. Top row 113. There we go. So these coordinates will help us in repositioning this bus pattern from the bottom here to get it exactly where it is printed on the chart here on this area of the design. Alright then, so here we are on the PPD, on the pattern creation screen, and here's the pattern I've been creating. Now if you look at the bottom left hand corner of the chart, you can see the stitch and row information. This is indicating I'm on stitch 1 of row 89. So that's exactly where I want to be. Row 89 is the start of my bus, which I need to copy and paste and also flip and position on row 89, beginning on stitch 33. So what we're going to do first is press the help key on the centre of the PPD console. It's highlighted in pink. Press help, And we're going to go first into variations. So we're going to enter 8 and press step. Now you can see there's a whole bunch of variations here. The one we want is reverse, the one at the top. So we use the left arrow key to move the asterisk from off to on, and then press step to confirm the entry. Press the help key again and press 7 and step for load stored pattern. Now it gives you 3 options. You have 1 from built-in pattern, so patterns that you've designed yourself that are stored in the cartridge, or from the Stitch World book. Option 2 is select character, so any sort of number, letter, punctuation, that sort of thing. And option 3 is external memory, so patterns that you are loading from the FB100 floppy drive. If you have the PPD110, currently I'm using the PPD120, but on the 110 it might say external disk or something to that effect, load from disk. But anyway, the option's the same. The one we want though is from built-in pattern, which is option 1, so we enter 1 and press step. Now on the PPD120 here with cartridge 3 it gives an additional option. So created pattern current page, which basically is patterns you've stored yourself on the cartridge, and then either Stitch World 1 or the KH270 chunky pattern book. So on the 120 it gives you a couple of choices of Stitch World books. But again, in this case, the one we want is patterns created on the cartridge, which is option 1. So we press 1 and step. The pattern number is the one I'm using currently, which is 901. Doesn't have to be the same pattern number, but in my case, I want to copy it from the same part of the chart. So I need the same pattern number. So I've entered 901, I'll press step. And there you can see loads the design. Now you'll notice at the bottom it says set corner, and if we move the cursor around you can see this 90-degree right angled box pop up, and we need to set the widest left edge of the pattern and the very bottom row with this set corner right angle. So I want because remember we're flipping it, I want the front of the bus first to appear on stitch 33. So it was already selected, but I just moved it to show you. So the corner is set at the very bottom left edge and the bottom row. We press step and now it says frame. So we have a little white box on one of the chart squares there, that's our cursor. If we move the arrow direction to the right, we can highlight the bottom row to the widest portion that we want to frame, and then use the up arrow to frame the rest of the design, as you can see. And anything you see in that white box is what you're going to copy. So as long as you see all the pattern data that you want to transfer or copy inside that white box, you've framed it correctly. Press step. Now we're going to press the help key and go for option 2, which is transfer cursor. So 2, step. This is where our coordinates from the bus design on the right upper side of the pattern comes in handy, that I told you to note down. So it begins on stitch 33, the bus. So I enter 33, step, and I want it to begin on row 89. So I enter 89. And you can see my cursor, which is the flashing square on the chart there, is exactly in the right place. So now all I have to do is press step and the front of the bus is in the correct position. If it wasn't in the right place, you can enter 2 for no, and then you can move the cursor around and reposition it if it was in the wrong place. But that's correct, so I'm going to press 1 to confirm it, and that saves the information on the cartridge in the pattern. Now I'm going to press help again and load stored pattern, just like we did before. Same procedure. Pattern 901. And now I want the back end of the bus. If you were just loading one complete pattern like you see the tractor there, then you wouldn't have to mess around doing this again. But because my pattern is in 2 halves, the front of the bus is on the left of the chart and the back of the bus is on the right end of the chart. So I need to go and get the left end. Now this is only 60 stitches wide, so it's not too much of a chore to go across to the other side to set my corner. But if it was a wide pattern, that's say 200 stitches wide, you'd be clicking away like this for a while. So instead what you can do is, if you see at the bottom right of the chart it says reduce, so enter 3, and then you see the little white rectangular box that you can move around with the arrow keys. If you highlight the area where you want on the chart to appear on your screen inside that white box just by moving the arrows, and then press the step key, it advances it on the screen into that right position. So once again, we're going to frame the very left edge of the pattern with this vertical line on the set corner, and the horizontal line of the set corner 90-degree angle, we're going to set that on the very first row. Press step, and again use the arrow keys to highlight the entire pattern area that you want to copy. You can see if you go too far, you can see extra information inside that white box. We don't want that, so you can see very clearly if you frame the pattern properly. That's fine, so we've framed it. Press step again, and now I'm going to move my cursor. Remember, we still need to be on row 89 as we noted, which we are, and the next position over from the empty space for the pattern data to go. You see here, if I move the cursor up, that's the edge of the bus at the front of the bus. So on row 89 I move 1 stitch over, that's my bottom left corner that I set when I copied the pattern. Press step, and the two pieces should marry up together beautifully, and they do. If they don't, press 2 for no and move your cursor around and reposition and try again. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't happen first time. But that's fine, that's correct. So I'm going to press 1 to save it. And now if I press help and then 5 for reduce or reduction, we can see the entire pattern. And you can see there, my bus is exactly how I want it, in the right position and facing, driving to the left instead of driving to the right like it was down here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to there, and you can see that because we've copied an area of the pattern, we've ended up with a couple of little bits of pattern data that I don't know if I need that or not, but I'll erase it now by just hovering my cursor over it and pressing erase on the PPD, just to get rid of those, just in case I don't need them. And there you go. Now always remember to turn off your variations when you finish using them by pressing the help key and entering 8 and step for variations, and then use your right arrow key to take the asterisk across to the off position for as many variations as you have used. Press the step key to confirm the entry. Just bear in mind that if you're using the load function within the pattern several times, if you forget to turn off a variation, it might cause you a bit of extra hassle. But of course, when you've ended the creation or start a new pattern, switch off the PPD, it will reset anyway and cancel the variations. They don't stay set. Now the transfer pattern option is useful for moving patterns around that you want to literally cut and paste, not copy. Transfer pattern option on the PPD will just move a design to a different place on the chart. It won't create a copy of it. So I'll show you in this instance that if you've done something wrong like this, that this is what that's useful for. So I've purposely moved that just so I can show you. But say that you've copied and pasted a design from a loaded pattern, and just like I did it in 2 halves, and you didn't quite line up the second piece properly, but you've already confirmed it and it's stuck there in the chart, and you think, oh, I've got to delete that now and do it all over again. Well, if you press your help key and press number 9 and step for transfer pattern, a similar situation with loading stored patterns, you get this 90-degree right angle, and you can set the corner of the piece that you need to move, which is the half of this wheel here, and press step and frame it just in the same way. Okay, press step and it'll disappear. Then move your cursor to the right left hand corner of where the pattern needs to start on the correct row, and press step, and it will put that pattern correct or move it to a different location. You don't just have to use this for correcting patterns, for the transfer pattern function. You can use it for moving patterns around as well if you want to move it to a different location on the chart. So that's fine, so we need to confirm that by pressing 1 for yes. So there we are then, that is how you can load stored patterns, in other words copy and paste, and also transfer pattern data into different locations on the chart using the pattern programming device. So this will apply to any of the pattern programming devices, or PPDs, the PPD100, PPD110 or PPD120. Thank you very much for watching and hope you found this video useful. Take care.